After the observation method, the second method, that is the interview. Interview is also a commonly used technique in empirical research. Through interview, the researcher enters into the face-to-face interaction with the person or group for the purpose of seeking certain information. By the word interview itself suggests that the internal view of the other person is observed through this method. The object of interview is to seek the opinion of other person, feeling of other person as to any fact, idea or observation. Components of interview are the researcher, interviewer, interviewee and interview environment. Where researcher himself or any other person acts in behalf as interviewer, he comes to interact with the subjects or the respondents with the object of seeking certain information. In interview method, only the responses of the respondent are not only observed, his behavior, his overall activity is also the subject of observation by the interviewer. After his responses and overall observation, it is synthesized and certain conclusion is drawn on the basis of responses given by the interviewee. The purpose of the interview is to probe the ideas of the interviewees about the phenomena of interest of research. It is the process to know the opinion, information or observation possessed by the other person through his verbal and non-verbal conversation initiated for the specific purpose and focus on certain plan-contained areas. But there are certain limitations of this method, because the process involved in the interview method and other factors are also involved, that is the interest of the interviewer and interviewee, their attentiveness and the personal qualities of the interviewee, his personality trait, all works important as to the ascertaining or reaching on any conclusion on the basis of information gathered through interview. Though apparently it seems that this is the verbal communication, but in reality this is not the verbal communication. This is the observation which involves his verbal communication, study of body language, gestures, glances, facial expression, pauses. Even flick of an eye or mere silence can speak more than the verbal exchange. Behavior can be judged and aptitude can be estimated based upon the blush of face, love, visible happiness or anger. The term itself denotes the interpersonal interaction between two. Interview can be classified on the basis of objective, purpose and methods of research. On the basis of objective, the interview can be classified as diagnostic, treatment or research interview. On the basis of group of subjects selected for interview, it can be the personal interview or group interview. The methodology applied for interviewing may be focused, directed, non-directed or repeated. Selecting tools for interview and their construction is an important step which is to be prepared before going for interview. Interview schedule, instruction guides and arrangement of other substance for recording the information or observing the information given by the interviewee. For that purpose, the physical or electronic mode may be used for recording the information given by the interviewee. Questionnaire is also a most popularly method other than the interview, where the information required for a particular subject cannot be directly obtained by the researcher through observation or interview method. In that case, a document containing certain questions relating to the subject matter are distributed or sent through mail or electronic mode to the respondents, and their responses are thereafter accepted and analyzed for research purpose. In legal research, it is very commonly used tool and method where the questions contained in the document are printed, typed, or in the digitally distributed. For using this questionnaire method, researcher designs certain hypotheses, and on the basis of hypothesis, he has to draw certain indicators. In the light of those indicators, sufficient number of items or the questions are designed by the researcher, and thereafter the researcher distribute them for the responses of the respondents. For designing the questionnaire, the researcher has to be very perfect and skilled, because the language used in the questionnaire must be free from ambiguity, should be grammatically correct, and because the responses given by the respondent are not made in the presence of researcher. So, there is no possibility of any guidance or assistance in case of any difficulty faced by the respondent while answering the questions of questionnaire. But there are certain limitations of this technique. The questionnaire cannot be applied for the illiterate class, for those who are not good with the language, comfortable with the language used for designing questionnaire. Therefore, before designing the questionnaire, researcher must be assured as to the selection of expected group where he is going to administer the questionnaire for the purpose of data collection. After questionnaire, another available method of data collection is case study. Case study is a distinct way of collecting data with the in-depth study of any unit from its origin to end. The unit used for case study may be any person, group, family, society, institution, or it may be the nation. By this method, the qualities of units are studied by correlating with all the factors, phenomena, incidents of its life. Every factor, incidents, whatever took place in the life of that unit are the matter of investigation by the researcher in this case study. For the case study method, the sources used by the researcher may be internal or external. Internal source of information may be that unit itself or within that unit. And if the relevant information regarding that unit is obtained from outsider, that is external source. In the case study method, sometimes the researcher has to face the conflict if the information existing and as to any fact from two different sources and one is from internal source and other is from external source. In that case, researcher should apply his own intelligence as a prudent person, and he should consider the other factors like the nature of information and the interest of the person involved who is giving such information, and other considerations on the basis of which he can decide that what information should be relied upon. Methods may be understood as a comprehensive study of facts of life, incidents or episode of life of any person, group, institution, entity for a certain objectives. After case study, the last method that is commonly used is survey method. Survey method is commonly used in social science and social legal research, where the objective of gathering information is to seek the opinion, experience and feelings of the public at large as to any social issue or as to any social or legal policy. Before making any policy, to apply that policy before the society, it is necessary that the opinion of the persons, stakeholders involved in that process should be given opportunity to express their opinion. The term survey constitutes from two terms. One is sur, which means over, and where means to see. It means see over or to look over the information or any opinion which exists as to the subject matter of a study or as to any policy. The survey is a process of collecting quantity of facts in the systematic and organized manner to report any social existence. Status of facts in a certain area of society is studied by the survey method, or social problem is exposed, where the object of study is to search the information through the real experience, opinion or feeling of the public at large on any matter of social importance. After deciding to survey, the next requirement is to decide about the means used for survey. For the survey method, usually the questionnaire or interview or the schedule may be used for this purpose. Before launching survey, the researcher must determine as to his objective, as to the utility of the data information gathered from the survey. The information gathered from the survey is merely the persuasive one, have no authoritative approach, because it is not in the form of any fact, it is in the form of any opinion as to the existence of fact. Before relying on the data gathered through the survey, the researcher should take other factors also into consideration. After that survey, the new method which is commonly used, that is the scaling method. By the term itself, scaling means to measure something by using any unit of measurement. Only those facts can be measured which are measurable, which are variable. This scaling technique is commonly used in the quantitative research, whereas in qualitative research, the facts which are studied are the social attributes, are the personality, behavior, which cannot be measured, which can only be observed. But the social scientists have evolved the technique by converting the qualitative data into quantitative one, and certain skills, statistical skills have been designed, and the opinion of the first respondent is taken on the basis of that numerical scale, and thereafter the data is processed accordingly. After analyzing all methods involved in the data collection, we can say the pivotal of the whole research is the data collection. And the researcher involved in the data collection process, especially in the legal research, should be balancedly focused on the necessity of data and appropriate techniques and tools requisite for that data in the light of objectives and purposes of research. And the researcher should also be skilled and experienced as to the administering the particular tool or technique used for data collection. Data collection in the doctrinal research are different, whereas the data collection in the empirical research are different. The basic approach in doctrinal research relied on the credibility of information sources, whereas in the empirical research, the researcher has to rely on his own observation, his tool and techniques used for data collection. Thank you. Goodbye.